All right, Katie, I am so excited to chat with you. For everyone who's listening, Katie is a badass web developer. She creates beautiful sites on Showit. You've probably seen some of them when you've been scrolling, I don't know, various businesses and stuff. So Katie, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So tell us about a little bit just how you got into doing what you do, because it's kind of a fun backstory.
Yeah. So I actually went to school for graphic design, but I had always wanted to work in the music industry. And I worked in the music industry for about 10 years after college, and I wasn't making any money and not getting promoted. So I started thinking about ways to make extra money. And I found, I had a friend that actually asked if I wanted to learn this program to help her build her websites for her clients, and it was Showit. So I actually started building websites while I was working club shows, Dirty Rock concert club shows, building websites.
There's a really good picture that I've seen you use in your promotion and stuff, which is you, I feel like maybe in a club bathroom or something.
Yeah, I'm sitting on the sink, on my phone. Yeah, that was pretty classic. Yeah. So, and then I was like, why? I could just do this. So I saved up some, a few months of income and went out on my own. I quit my job. And it has kind of evolved into just this Showit business. We mainly focus on Showit development for designers that don't want to have to build out their mockups in Showit, but we also have, a support side of the business and an educational piece of the business now as well. So yeah, it's been a journey.
And what year was that you quit the music biz?
That was 2018.
2018. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
So it's been
pretty interesting. Interesting that over 4 years though, you've grown so many components of the business really in such a short time.
Yeah. And it's really evolved. That first year I was kind of just taking whatever I could get and as most people do. But yeah, it has evolved very quickly.
Yeah. So tell us about over this last kind of, I don't know, 6 to 8 months or 10 months even, you launched this educational side to the company and you decided to launch a course. Why? What made you make that decision, would you say?
Yeah, so I had been wanting to do a Showit course for a long time. And the reason for that is, Showit has amazing educational tools and documents on their website. But what I found was that a lot of people were coming to me saying well, I keep YouTubing tutorials and there's this specific random thing that I'm trying to do, but I can't find a tutorial for it. So the idea being that I could create this all-in-one comprehensive Showit library in a sense, where people could just buy it and keep it and have it. But also we can add to it as things are updated or changing or whatever. And then that idea kind of morphed into adding a business aspect to it as well to add even more value.
Right. Meaning showing people how to create a Showit business. So let's give them all the tech training, but let's also show them how to create a profitable, sustainable business as a Showit designer or Showit developer.
As a web designer. Using Showit as a platform, as adding it to your service, or maybe you want to haven't decided what you want to use yet and you're just dabbling.
Right.
It's basically the course that I wish that I had when I was first starting.
Right.
It walks you through every single little thing, but it also gives you the educational piece on how do I, decide if I use Dubsado or Honeybook, or if I do want to start a template shop, what do I even do to get started?
Right.
Very just things that you don't think about, but they're there, and that I still wish I would have that.
Yeah. And really comprehensive, not needing to get the tech training over here and then have to go get business training elsewhere, all in one spot. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So you and I worked together. We worked together when you launched this program. I don't even know that I know the answer to this question.
Okay.
How did you ever even find me? Because all I remember is we had some DM conversations. I'm not even sure if I was taking clients at the time, but I'm
you weren't. You were
I was
but you're clients.
Yeah, but I was oh, she's pretty rad. I think I need to break my rule and say yes. So yeah, how did that come to be?
I think I was really looking for someone. So I basically had wanted to launch this course, and I was thinking about it at a time where COVID was happening. And then my dad passed away and I just was like, my productivity levels were just gutted and I couldn't. So it was about a year after my dad passed away. And I was like, I want to do this. I need to do this for the future of my business before somebody else does it, because it's only gaining popularity. And I truly want to help people. And I knew I wasn't going to do it unless I had somebody to kick my butt and say, okay, this is how we're going to do it. Here's the list of everything we need. We're going to plan it out. And I just needed that extra support piece. And I think I just looked on Instagram and like searched for like course creator coach. Like, I think I just I just tried to like find course educator type folks that did. I knew I wanted one-on-one because I had done course.
Yeah.
Not your like, course creators.
No, but like group programs.
I've done
and
courses.
Right.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure I just like Instagram search.
Oh my gosh, that's wild. Well, thank God I had the right terms in my,
my
IG bio.
Your SEO is working fabulously.
I love that because we had some really good conversations and it was felt like an easy yes from my end of things too. And then we had such a nice time working together. So it sort of speaks to that idea that like, when you land on someone's profile, you probably checked out some of my stuff. We resonated on, even things like values and things like that. And it was like just an easy, just didn't take 6 months of like nurturing for us to start working together. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I could tell right away just based on your style and your vibe. Like, and I think that like, as you kind of go down the road in business stuff, like it's easier to like make those, like, I just knew, like, you know,
you get the feeling, feeling.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about some of the nitty gritty stuff around your launch because like it went really well. So let's talk about numbers, like when you thought about your founding launch that you were doing, because you did follow what I do teach inside of Course Creator School, which is we're going to put together the offer, develop something really compelling, but we're going to put it out to market and make sure it sells before we go and like record and create and build out the whole back end of it. So when you thought about that founding launch that we were going to do for your new program, what did you guess you were going to bring in, or did you set some like baseline goals?
I didn't really have any idea. I had already kind of positioned myself as a show it expert, which like glad I did that. But I kind of like, I was like, maybe 20 people, maybe 30 people, like, we'll see how it goes. I know people are interested. I had a live boot camp iteration. So people knew that those people existed and I knew they existed. I didn't know if they knew about me.
Right.
So, I think my like great goal was 30.
Right. And then how many students ended up enrolling in that first launch?
Like 42.
Yeah. Which was
awesome.
awesome.
It was so awesome. I was like, blown away.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
And what was the price of the course for that first round?
The pay in full was $897 or 3 payments of $333.
Right. And actually, do you remember the split? Like, was it 50-50? Did most people do payment plan?
Actually, most people, I think it was like more of like a third, 2/3. Like it looks like we had 17 people paying full and 26 people payment plan. And then I think we ended up having 1 refund and 1 fraud.
Right. Like they failed out of the payments.
I lost my PayPal dispute or whatever.
Oh my gosh, they're the worst. If anyone who's listening to this, when you do get into selling courses or memberships or really anything with a subscription model or payment plan model, this is bound to happen. And Stripe and PayPal, you can like dispute the dispute basically, and you'll never win. It's like never. And
she had been 40% through the course.
Yes, I have a team member who like takes these when this happens, which is pretty infrequent, but it happens. She takes it so personally. Like she's like personally offended that someone would like claim fraud or whatever when they've spent like hours in the course. So my team member will gather like all this evidence and send it in. She spends hours. And I'm always like, dude, it is not worth it. Like, we just need to like rinse our hands of it and just know that
Yeah.
it's the cost of doing business in the
Right.
internet world.
And they lose access to, which is
Yes.
fine, but it's just like, also like if it was truly fraudulent, who uses it, a stolen credit card to buy a course on Showhere? It's so weird. Like, all right.
Don't think that's what like the first thing someone's going to use a stolen credit card for. We just tangent here, but I just had my first instance of finding like someone who scraped my course and like put it on a website for sale for like, you know, a quarter of the price.
Am I allowed to cuss?
I don't know. I
Sorry,
don't know. Will the podcast gods take it?
I don't know.
I don't know. We don't edit this, so whatever. It's in there now.
Watch my potty mouth from now on, sorry.
But they scraped it, stole the whole course, and put it up for sale.
Stole and everything.
Yeah, stole my whole sales page, the works. And so, just so you'll know who are listening, my husband works in IT and he works with people who do like cybersecurity and hacking and all this stuff. And he has like people at interesting levels of government, like looking into who did this, right? Because
you picked the wrong person.
Yeah, that cease and desist is coming your way. Let me tell you.
My gosh. People are so ballsy when it comes to stealing stuff. I could talk for hours just on that, but like no shame. They have no shame.
It's wild. Yeah. Okay. Back to what we were talking about. You sold like 42, 44-ish students on that founding round, but let's also talk about expenses, because what's interesting is you were maybe kind of different from like the typical student or client that I would work with who is doing things generally fully solo. They might not be as like far along in their business as you were. So you already have a team around you. You were tapping into that team and obviously had some expenses associated with that. So can you just shed some light on kind of like how much you ended up spending on expenses and where you spent it?
Yeah, between like the one-on-one coaching, we did Facebook ads, and then the additional team support, I would say we probably spent between 6,000 and 8,000 on those things, just because, as you know, when you're building a new course from scratch, like it's not, you're building everything from scratch. It's just like it's emails, it's ad copy, it's like it, and like so much that you don't think about. So yeah, we had extra, I mean, everybody had extra hours basically, but yeah, I would say probably between 6 and 8.
Right.
Probably, which is still pretty low.
Yeah. I was going to say, what's the profit margin on that? Or how, what was the difference? Like, what was the final profit-ish, would you say, from the launch?
Probably mid 30s, low 30s,
which is a pretty amazing chunk of change to just be able to stick right in your profit account.
Yeah. And it was one of those where it's like, you know, that like the TikTok somewhere, it's like, I made this. Like, I was just like, I made this. Like, it's something that I like, you like created something out of nowhere, and then money came from it. It just kind of is mind blowing.
I think it's mind blowing too. And what is really amazing, and you're going to start to experience this as you're like going into your second launch now. And I know your plans later in the year to like make the program available sort of on Evergreen and that sort of stuff is the fact that it can become this source of revenue for you for so long. You know, like I think I launched the Passive Project in 2019. We're into year 4 of it. And it's like this thing, sure, stuff has changed and it evolves and all the rest of it. But like this thing continues to pay me money. And you build it once, like it just feels incredible.
Yeah. And that was one of the biggest hurdles for me, was and we talked about this when I wanted to work with you, was like, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. It was the overwhelm from having to record all of it and create it that stopped me, because I was so overwhelmed with the thought of having to do the work that was what my bottleneck was.
Right.
But the way, like you were saying, the way that we sold it first and then created it, it gave me a lot of time and a lot more space to be able to be like, okay, well, I only have to record 3 today, or, you know, I don't, and obviously like it's still a lot of work, but when you have a plan in place for it, it felt a lot less overwhelming.
Yeah. Because you had a list that was so specific of like, okay, here's what all the modules were going to look like, but then lesson by lesson, like you had that mapped out so clearly. So actually I'd be interested to know what felt sort of bigger for you. Was it the launch and all the components of the launch, or was it building out the back end of the program, like actually delivering the course? What felt like it was more work?
Delivering, for sure.
Delivering.
Because I think we're over 100 lessons now. Like
wild.
It's a chunky course, which is great because it's all in one place. Like that's what I wanted it to be. But it was the overwhelm for me was getting there. I like launching. I like parts of launching, right? Like, and I like making money from something that I believe in and created from my heart. But it was, I think, such a big task that I would just get inside my own head. And I knew that I was going to do that. But if I committed to another person, it was like, I want to do this by this date, and I'm also paying this person to help me. I owe it to myself to actually get it done and do the work. But I knew that of myself. And like, I mean, thank God that I did, because I'm so grateful that we did the thing, you know?
We did the thing. And yeah, you might not have launched it by now if you had just signed up for another course or
seriously,
whatever.
It could just be another little idea. And other people have started to launch Showhere courses now, and still none of them are, I'm not like tooting my own horn. I'm sure everybody's Showhere course is great, but they're just different than ours. Like ours is just different. Yeah.
So, were there any other wins that you felt like from the launch that trickled in besides money? Like, did it have a ripple effect anywhere else, would you say?
It was validating to me personally that like the work that I had been doing, resonated with people. Like, like, you know, you do the storytelling for selling and all that stuff, but like those stories that I tell are true.
Oh yeah.
and like that's my life. Like, and so the fact that it resonates with people and they wanted, and like this, they're like, yeah, I've been looking for this. This is perfect. Like, and everybody in the first round has just been so awesome. And they like make me cry every week because they're so sweet. And like, it's just so validating to have an idea, and then you take so much time and energy to create something and it works.
Yeah.
Like,
and has that impact.
Yeah. It just like, that was huge for me.
Yeah, that is huge. Did you find that because you were sort of stepping into a bit more of that storytelling, did you find that there were like that you got better engagement on Instagram, or that your email list grew, or you got more replies, or like anything like that?
I can't remember what our email list was when we started working together, but it was less than 1,000 people. Like it was pretty low, like maybe 500. And we're close to 2,000 now.
Wow.
Like,
amazing.
And our email list crushes. Like our open rates are like over 20%.
Amazing.
Average. Like it's crazy. Like they're engaged. And we get unsubscribes just like everybody else does. People want their freebies and stuff, but like our email list has really grown. Our Instagram is like a steady chug along growth, which is totally fine with me. I'd rather have them be quality people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just been a good uptick in everything, really.
Yeah. That's amazing. It's interesting to me when that happens that, it's all exciting to get money, to make money from a course. But then when you see those other things start to really happen, it can be, growth of an email list. I know someone in Course Creator School, like her Instagram just blew up because she felt like, oh, I actually know what I should talk about on there now, because it aligned with what I had told her she needs to talk about in her launch. And, it just really shifted everything for her there. Or like people being seen as experts in that thing. Like you had already established yourself as the Showhere expert, but when you do launch a course, it does position you sort of differently. And you'll have people coming to you for podcast interviews or guest expert trainings, or like the doors start to open up a little, that they're just a little different when you do launch a program.
Yeah. And people, I've done a couple guest expert trainings and some podcast interviews, and like, it's still kind of like, you want to talk to me? Little me? Like that's cool. I'm good with that. But like, we're still just like a tiny little team that does our show at stuff. And And yeah, it's been really fun.
Cool. So any big wins from the first round of students that you want to share?
Oh man, they're so cute. Oh, they're so sweet. One of them recorded this video testimonial. And I was literally like, oh my God, I'm crying. Like, this is so cute. A lot of the wins that came from them, like they have so much more clarity around Showit. Like one of the Q&A calls that we do Q&A calls, live calls within the course. And she was like, I literally saw a site and I was like, oh, I know how they did that in
Right.
Showit. Like it makes sense to me how they built that. And I was like,
Yes.
yes, like that it's working. Like,
yes, totally.
which is such a win because then they can see something, they can gain inspiration from other things. They know how it works and they could apply that later on if they wanted to.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, like I also had like, I knew it was going to be a good course, but anytime you create something and have other people look at it, you're like, well, I hope it's as good as I think it is, you know?
Right.
And like, they just like blew me away with their feedback. Like they loved it. And yeah, it was great.
That's awesome. So what does the future, what does the sort of like your business, maybe a year from now, what do you hope it looks like? Is this education arm still there? Is it this cool blend of like agency and education? What are your plans?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a blend. Like I want to be able to help as many people as who want to learn Showit, while still like, I still like obviously love Showit and like obsessed with it. So I want to work in it too. So we are obviously going to still be doing Showit development and Showit support and all that good stuff. And then the educational aspect of it is just kind of another arm of the agency. But yeah, and it feels good. Like I know a lot of people like launch one course, then they launch another course, and then they launch another course. And like, it just like feels good to have a flagship program that fits so well with our core values and like what we do.
Do you know what? I think that is one of the benefits of you having done this in year 4 of your business, is that you really understood what your specialty is, the problem you can solve for people, and you built your flagship program from the beginning. Someone who's in year 1 or 2 of their business, they're still testing the market and kind of figuring it out. So they might fall into that trap of like, okay, we're going to do one, learn all the things from it, and then pivot a little bit and maybe the flagship is like course number 2 or course number 3 that they create. And that's okay too.
Totally.
But that was definitely like on your side, given that you were an experienced entrepreneur.
And I knew what I did in year 1 and year 2 even look completely different than what my business looks like now.
Yeah.
And it might look completely different another 2 or 3 years from now, who knows? But I also like, a course wasn't really on my radar until later anyway, I guess. But once I realized that I could probably do it, like I was like, oh yeah, I should do this.
Yeah, well, it opens up a really different revenue stream for you. Because
totally
on the agency side, well, you are going to hit a cap and of course you can hire more help and whatever, and that's fine. But there is a cap there. And there's also, it's also going to always cater only to one segment of the audience. Whereas now you can cater to a totally different segment of your audience with this. And so it just like, really adds to the like overall revenue picture for your business.
Yeah, it totally does. And it also like, I just like that it still fits well. Like it's not an off and left field thing. And honestly, it's the course is great because in my mind, people, aspiring designers or new designers or designers that don't use Showit, they can go through the course, add this, and then maybe they come back to us a year or 2 from now and need help with Showit development because they've grown. It's almost like another step up with that service. So it's almost kind of like part of the step system in services almost.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Well, this has been a great conversation, Katie, where I know you have like a couple of cool freebies. One is a calculator. Can you tell folks what it is and where to find it?
Yeah, so we have the Showit Business Income Calculator, and basically it just like breaks out the 5 main Showit business services that we think are great. And then it kind of calculates what you can charge, how many hours per week or how many hours per month it might take you to do that. And then it'll, based on how many of those you do, it calculates your monthly income and your yearly income. And it's very interesting to see how crazy the numbers swing one way or the other. Like if you just like raise your prices by $500 or do one extra VIP day, like, and you're really not working 80 hours a week by any means, you know, like it's like very manageable and reasonable.
Yeah, it actually does paint a really clear picture of what it takes. Let's say your goal is to have 100K a year.
Yeah.
Very clear with that calculator on exactly what you need to book out to make it happen if you are a Showhere designer.
Yes, exactly. And that is like our main freebie. And you can find that just on the homepage of our website at rebelandrise.co.
And where can they find you on Instagram if they want to go give you a follow?
At rebelandrise.co.
Perfect. Yeah, she has a really good Instagram, you guys. Go check it out. Such good branding. I'm always like, damn, that is so good.
Oh, thanks.
And then lastly, before we wrap up, Katie, what would you, if someone is listening to this episode and they're either thinking about, maybe they're thinking about launching their own course, thinking about joining a program like Course Creator School. I know you worked with me one-on-one, but maybe they're just thinking about generally about hiring a mentor to help them do this. What would you say, but maybe they're unsure of like whether it's worth it. What would you say?
I wouldn't have finished this and it wouldn't be what it was if I hadn't asked for help.
Right.
And I would just like encourage people, if they want to create a course and they just need a little bit of help, like do what you have to do to make it work. Because it is worth it. Like it makes a difference and it's great experience too. Like it's good for your business. So yeah, do the thing.
Do the thing. Okay. Amazing. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. If you want to snap a picture of you listening to this podcast or even watching the video and tag Katie and I on Instagram, let us know what your biggest takeaways were. If you are into Show It, Katie is your gal. Or maybe if you even like need your website redone. Yeah. Like go check out her Instagram. She does gorgeous work. And I'm not kidding you when I say that if you are in the like online business world, you have probably come across websites built by Katie. So thank you for coming on the show today, Katie. Appreciate it.
All right. Bye.